I don't know. I'd say I'm reasonable.
Okay, that's completely unreasonable.
I'm reasonable.
I'm unreasonable.
You have no idea just how reasonable I have been.
Reasonable synonyms are sensible, rational, practical, fair, appropriate.
Fitting, suitable, logical.
All things I would definitely say describe me.
Do they describe you?
Welcome to Unreasonable with Zainab Johnson.
I'm reasonable. I'm reasonable. Hey, I gotta stop doing that, right? I should stop. Hey, you guys, welcome to another episode of I'm Reasonable with Zainab Johnson. I am Zainab Johnson. How are you guys doing out there? Happy Wednesday. Let's see. I'm looking for my notes. I'm trying to buy time. On a scale from France to reasonable, how reasonable have we been? Yeah, notice how I flipped that around because we're going to talk. We about to get into it. Let's see, what we talking about today? What are we talking about today? Freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. Now, you know, Beyonce don't even let you karaoke with her song. So let me stop before this video finds out the hard way. Speaking of freedom, really quick, I know I don't normally do this at the top of the show, but I'm going to play a clip because there's something in this clip that I just really, really love. This is a clip that Huffington Post has been circulating on all their social media pages, platforms of Kamala Harris. And this is from 2019 when she was going for her first presidential run, when she was during the primaries, when she was running against Biden. And I believe that this is on a late night show, I believe. But I like this clip. Let's just watch this clip really quick.
How many of you guys as college students had to have a drill during high school or middle school or elementary school, where you, or even in college, where you learned about how you need to hide in a closet or crouch in a corner in the event that there is a mass shooter roaming the hallways of your school? Look at that. It terrorized you. It is traumatizing. I don't want that any of our children should have to sit in class when you should be paying attention to what's happening in the front of the classroom, letting your mind open up to the wonders of science, math, or art, or whatever, and instead have to be worried about who's going to come banging through the door carrying some kind of weapon. Leaders need to lead on this issue. And so I'm telling you, when elected, if Congress fails to act, I'll give them 100 days to put a bill on my desk for signature. And if they do not do it, I will put in place by executive action a comprehensive background check requirement and a ban on the assault weapons and the importation of assault weapons into our country. I'm done.
It's the I'm done for me. I know we took a long time to get there, and I agree with everything she said. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, she's asking a question. And when I was a kid, when I was in grade school, we did not have school shooter drills. We did have fire drills. We did have bomb drills because those things were very popular when I was in grade school. But I do know that the kids now are doing shooter drills, and yeah. But it's the I'm done. It's like, yeah. It's like A, B, C, D. I'm done. And that's her real, that's when if we just allow her, to tap into who she really is, a force, she can be a force like us all. But if she allows the same restraint or constraints that she's been in, I don't think it'll be effective. But if she hit us with that energy, I'm done. She hit us with you see the gestures, having a check behind us. Who tell a story like that? Having a check behind us. Only very specific people tell a story like that. So then I had to look behind me. But you saw her, she do that. That's the real thing in her. Anyway. So today we're going to be talking about the Summer Olympics in Paris. That's actually all we're going to talk about. For the most part, and I have like a show announcement, but we're going to talk about the Summer Olympics. And I know I know that I said, number one, there's no rush to like talk about politics, the U.S. election and presidency, because things are still unfolding, right? Like at this point, all the chatter is like, oh, maybe in the next couple of days, the, potential presidential candidate for the Democrats, Kamala Harris, because she's not confirmed yet, right? She's endorsed by everyone legitimate, but she's not confirmed yet. She is now vetting her potential vice president nominee, running mate, right? And so there's like, the information is still going to unfold. So I don't have to sit here this is what you, right? No. Also too, I just posted like 13 minutes of stand-up. If you haven't watched it, check it out. I put the link in the details of this podcast. And if you just go to my YouTube page, you'll see it. But me just having fun talking about politics. And so, that's, but I know that I did say that we were going to talk about Project 2025. First of all, ain't nobody told me that was a 900-page document, okay? Which I have been sifting through, and I've been trying not to just take the word of other people, other journalists, other talking heads, other fill in the blanks, giving the information. I want to kind of understand the information myself. But here's the thing, and a lot of the stuff, I won't get into it because it's broken up into four very specific. It's broken up into four very specific phases, I'll say, and it was created by a group called the Heritage Group, and when Trump took office in 2016, I think a lot of his supporters realized that he won, but he had no plan. And so now this group, leading a bunch of other groups, are like, we know that if he wins in 2025, he is going to need a plan, and we want it to be this plan, right? And Trump, he like, I don't even know what they talking about. Trump will lie, and then the truth will come out right after. You can watch that. I talk about that in my stand-up too. The truth will come out right after he lied. It's like the wildest thing. He said, I never seen this document. I don't agree with some of the stuff that's in it. Wait a minute. Did you never see it, or do you not agree? Because the two are conflicting. If you don't agree with what's in it, then how you know what's in it if you didn't see it? This is not rocket science, people. But we also know that he's just a liar. Like, and that's not personal. That's not like, this is as plain as day, right? But what I realized today is, while everybody is ringing the alarm for Project 2025, you don't even have to, because what's coming out of his mouth is alarming enough. Today, I watched him say that if he wins, it will be the last election. That all the people that vote for him, they'll never have to vote again. He was talking to like Christian conservatives, and it was a very specific demographics that he was targeting, and he was like, you won't have to vote again.
Christians, get out and vote. Just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian.
You get me in this one last time. You will not ever have to vote. We don't even have to go into Project 2025 to know. Like, that's enough. That is enough to put every effort towards a full stopping of whatever his intentions are. So we're not going to go into Project 2025. I'm still, the reason why I say sifting through it is because I'm not reading 900 pages, but I am reading some parts more detailed than others and skimming through, other parts and listening to reputable sources like NPR, like New York Times, et cetera, et cetera. And so, again, I'll come to you guys with probably maybe in different episodes, I'll go through the different parts because it is a lot. Anyway, we're not doing that today. We're going to just live in France for today's episode. But before we do that, let's talk about my shows tonight. Tonight, Wednesday, July 31st, I am in East Hampton, New York. I'm at Guildhall in East Hampton, New York. If you are anywhere near East Hampton, come see me. It'll be me and my friend, very funny comedian that I've spoken about on this show before, Sydney Washington. The show starts at 7 p.m. Then Thursday night, I will be in Boston. Thursday, August 1st, I will be in Boston for one night at Laugh Boston. And then Friday and Saturday, August 2nd and 3rd, I will be at Levity Live in West Nyack, New York. The tickets for those shows, which are all this weekend, the tickets for those shows, the link is in the details of this podcast. So if you are in any of those areas, friends, family, whatever, in any of those areas, click on that link, get those tickets, come hang out with me. Let's have a good time. My European tour is all in November. I think some dates are being added. We already know I have Amsterdam November 11th. I have Paris November 15th and 16th, I'm going to be wearing a hijab. Possibly. We'll talk about it. And then London November 18th through the 23rd. So make sure you guys get those tickets. And I believe that they may be adding to my schedule Geneva and somewhere else. But that will all be in November. Anyway, like I said, the link to all of my shows, the tickets and details for all of my shows are in the details of this podcast. While I have you, subscribe. Y'all see, I don't got on no makeup. This is one of those days where I just came back from getting a facial. I don't know if Mercury is in retrograde, but I tried to record this earlier in the day and my memory card was trying to act like it didn't know what was up. And I was like, see, the most inopportune time to malfunction. But it malfunctioned. But guess what? My memory card might have been unreasonable, and I might have lost my SD card adapter. That might have been unreasonable, but I still showed up today, which is very reasonable. So I ask you guys, what reasonable thing have you done today? But I don't have one. I just came from getting a facial, so I don't have on any makeup, and you see the vibe. The vibe is self-care. Although I got to get on a plane tonight, I'm getting on whatever. Subscribe. Subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Let's get into it. What's up with Z? What's up with me? Last week I did my show. I ran my hour at the Improv. Thank you in West Hollywood on Melrose. Thank you everybody that came out. That was such a fantastic show. Like I said, I posted like 13 minutes of that show on YouTube, which you can watch right now. And I'll post clips like on my social media, but the full 13 minutes is on my page. So after you watch this, watch that. But my audience, anyone who came out, thank you. You guys were amazing. My openers were fantastic. It was just such an affirming and fun night. Like, thank you so much. And I realized, because I had somebody come in and tape the show, because, the material for my new hour, I want to send out to people, to shop, and just have people watch, like, other peers and friends in comedy that can, give me notes and things like that. But I had someone tape it, and then I realized, like, well, I've been, all of my shows, I've been like working on this material, and I'm not doing like a lot of crowd work, and I'm pretty good at crowd work, and a lot of times it's fun. And so my show announcement is I am doing an all crowd work show. I'm doing an all crowd work show August 16th. One night only in Los Angeles, California, at this wonderful little theater. I'm going to announce all of the information this Friday. There are limited tickets, limited seats. So make sure, if you're in LA and want to be a part of my crowd work show, that means I'm not going to do any planned material. I'll probably come with like topics that's in the news that day. You know what I'm saying? I'll take stuff from the audience, but it's going to be all improvised. all improvised stand-up. And so come. If you can't make it, of course, I will. It doesn't matter. If you're in Los Angeles, August 16th, mark your calendars. I am doing my first Zainab Johnson Presents The Crowd Work Show. In the detail, like all of the place, the time, the ticket link, that will all be announced this Friday, August 2nd. Okay? All right. I guess that's what's up with Z, right? Really, what's up with Z is, what's up with Z? What's up with me? I got a facial. Let's see, was there any place in my life where I was reasonable or unreasonable? I kind of was a little bit unreasonable when I, like inside, my emotions were unreasonable. I went and got a manicure. I had gel X's, and now I just have gel polish with and I cut my nails down because I'm doing a bunch of traveling in the next 2 weeks. I'll be traveling all the way up until I do my crowd work show. And then right after my crowd work show, I get on another plane and I'm out the country for a minute. But my appointment was at 10 a.m. and I got there at 10 a.m. and I walked into this salon and she was like, "Oh, do you have an appointment?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "What's your name?" And I told her, and she was like, "Okay, let me check." And then she was like, "Okay, have a seat." And I'm looking at the clock like it's 10:04. Why am I having a seat anywhere that's not in the chair of the nail tech that's about to do my nails, right? And so whatever, that's what goes on inside, but I have a seat. And I'm like, I got stuff to do. I got a little bit of cyber errands to run that I can do from my phone. I'll do that, in the few minutes that I don't know, maybe she back there washing her hands. Maybe she was eating breakfast. I don't know, maybe they finishing somebody up. And so then after maybe 7 minutes or so, I was like, "Excuse me." So at this point, it's 10:15, maybe the latest, 10:15. I'm like, "Excuse me." And she was like, "Yeah, did you need something?" I'm like, "Yeah, I had a 10 a.m. appointment." And she was like, "Yes, I know. It's just that I'm trying to figure out where she's at." And I was like, I rolled my eyes. I couldn't help it and I couldn't hide it. I had on sunglasses, so maybe she didn't see me rolling my eyes, but when I roll my eyes, you could probably see it through the sunglasses. I rolled my eyes for a few different. I think I rolled my eyes because I have so much stuff to get done today, and that's not on them. I think if it was just a leisurely, as much as I did seemingly leisure things like a manicure or facial, that is not that those are two things out of my list of 15, 20 things that I had to get done today, right? I think if those were the only two things and she was like, "Oh yeah, she's just running late, whatever," then I probably wouldn't have rolled my eyes. I would have probably been like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll take a coffee and whatever, and I'll walk around the corner and get a croissant, whatever, But because I had something to do, I was most important. I was most important, and so that's why I rolled my eyes. And she was like, "Yeah, I'm calling to try to figure out." And then she called, and she was like, she said she's going to be 15 minutes from now. Is that okay? She got into some car trouble or something like that, right? I rolled my eyes again. Very unreasonable. And then I'm in the moment, I'm pondering, do I wait? Do I? I'm thinking of other options. Can I go somewhere else? Does 15 minutes really affect my day that seriously? Won't it take me 15 minutes? I'm doing all of this processing, but really, I'm just mad. Really, I'm just mad that she wasn't there. And I didn't really come out of it. I came out of it the moment she started doing my nails, because it's kind of hard to be mad at somebody that you don't know personally. It's not personal against you. And she was so apologetic and she wasn't that got me out of it. But I really should have, my emotional state was a bit unreasonable. That's what I'll say. Like I did roll my eyes. I wasn't yelling at anybody, but for certain factors in my life, frustration, girl stuff, girl biological stuff, not romance stuff, girl biological stuff, science stuff. I had little to no patience, and I was quite unreasonable in the anxiety that presented itself. Just because like my date, just because somebody had their schedule, you know what I'm saying? Just because somebody was running a little bit behind. Anywho, let's get into these topics so I can get up out of here. Not that I don't like talking to y'all, but sometimes I just be looking like, wait, I just been talking about what's up with Z for 42 minutes? No. Ain't nothing up with me. Ain't nothing up with me for 42 minutes. The Summer Olympics. Okay, so the Summer Olympics, if you didn't know, the Summer Olympics are held in Paris. I normally be watching all of the Olympics. I be watching the track and field. I be watching the gymnastics. I watch all the sports that are not like the huge draw. Like I don't ever watch basketball, or I be watching volleyball. I watch gymnastics. I watch track and field. That's probably the thing that I watch the most is track and field. Like I get fascinated by track and field during the Olympics. I watch swimming. But for some reason this year I've just been so consumed with other tasks. I haven't really been watching the Olympics like that. But the Olympics this year are being held in Paris, France. They run from July 24th through August 11th. The opening ceremony took place on the 26th of July. And there was a lot of performances. Lady Gaga performed. Celine Dion performed. I think LeBron James and Coco Gauff, they led the... They were like flag bearers for Team USA. Snoop Dogg had like the torch. I think he lit the torch and he like carried the torch, right? It was a lot. It was there were a bunch of known French artists that performed. Beyonce did like the opening like promo or something to present like Team USA. But the thing that got everybody talking was a performance at the opening ceremony, right? So there was a performance at the opening ceremony that to me looked like a mix of like drag performers, like maybe drag queens, maybe there were kids and things, but for the most part, this definitely looked like a really artistic bunch and or a queer identifying bunch. So wherever people are on that spectrum, right, of queerness. But there were also kids, not that kids can't be on a spectrum of a queer identity. But I'm just saying, whatever, I don't know. So they started, they were walking down a runway, the Eiffel Tower was in the backdrop behind, like it was just this whole thing. But then at one point, they were at this table, and a lot of people online, like a bunch of publications, are calling netizens. And if you don't know what netizens mean, Netizens. Netizens is just a combination of internet and citizens. So people, I talked about this on my old podcast a lot. Netizens are just people who use the internet, but in a very different way than we do. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not scouring the internet to create tea. I'm not scouring the internet to bring up something from 10 years ago on somebody to prove, you know, like, no. But there are people, whatever. A lot of people felt like the tableau at the table that these performers did, that it was reminiscent of the Last Supper. The painting of the Last Supper. And people took the position of being offended. So the Last Supper, if you don't know, is a mural, a painting by the Italian artist Leonardo da Vinci. And the painting represents the scene of the Last Supper of Jesus with the 12 apostles, as it is told in the Gospel of John, specifically the moment after Jesus announces that one of his apostles is going to betray him. I saw this in the Book of Clarence. Also, if you remember the promo, some of the advertisement for the Book of Clarence, they have that same sort of tableau. They're recreating it, but it's like all black people. And I don't remember anybody being outraged because of that. Not that they should have been, but I think the reason why, and let me just tell y'all something. I'm gonna be very honest with y'all. I don't know nothing about Jesus and his apostles. I don't know nothing about the Book of John. I don't know nothing about Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know nothing about Leonardo da Vinci. I am not versed on this thing right here. As much as I'm aware of it, but I ain't really got that much knowledge around it. It has not been a part of my existence, okay? But I think the reason why people were so offended, not even so offended, but found any offense, is because of the queer identifying people. Like, I think that in this same tableau, if it were a bunch of Olympic athletes, nobody would have had a problem with it. They wouldn't have been like, oh, France is mocking Christianity or, whatever. If it were a bunch of pop stars and they just represented themselves as pop stars, if it were a bunch of world leaders, it would always be a debate like who they, I guess for people, who they got playing Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Who, right? But I think in the queer identifying community, I think there's always a context associated with sex, right? Because even when you think about, most people, when they think about queer identifying people, it's always like, oh, who you trying to have sex with? Right? Like, oh, you want to have sex with the same person, somebody that's just like you? Oh, you want to have some sex with somebody that's different than you? Oh, you want to have sex with that's always like what it boils down to for the most part, which I'm sure is probably annoying for queer identifying people to kind of be reduced to just that, right? And so because there's always a bit of a sexual context when displaying, not even with displaying, but when conversing about queer identity in the mainstream, and because people always get kind of stiff when any sort of sexual contextualizing happens in the same conversation of religion. That's been taboo. So I think that's why people were having such a hard time with this. And I did a little bit of research, right? Because I didn't want to come to y'all with like just an opinion, like just a, you know what I'm saying? Just like a spirited opinion. No pun intended. But the thing that's kind of interesting, there's a couple of things that are interesting to me, but the thing that's interesting to me is the painting by Leonardo da Vinci of the Last Supper, while it was inspired by the Gospel of John, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't really have any, it ain't really associated with the Bible. You get what I'm saying? It's like, and I get like throughout history for the past however many years, people have been using it. And people hold certain people in a high regard. This artist, Leonardo da Vinci, he's held in high regard by historians, by, I guess people, art collectors around the world. I don't know. there's no significance really for me. And there's no significance for me, but I do understand that this image, the first of its kind, has sort of existed in a way that does feel like it was ripped right out of the page of the Bible, right out of the page of the book of John, right? But it's not. It was just an artist's, is that how you say it? An artist's interpretation of something written in the Bible. And so really, my friend and I were talking, right? And he was like, it's really interesting that everybody, regardless of what they were, if they were queer identifying or regardless of what they did during the opening ceremony at the Olympics, it's like they shouldn't be, and I thought this was such a good point. He said they shouldn't be mad at them. They should be mad at Leonardo da Vinci. They should be mad at him because his original depiction is wrong. It's incorrect. Depending on what, now this ain't for me to argue. Y'all know this ain't for me to argue. But, I hear people say all the time that the depiction of Jesus Christ and the people in it, it's like, no, their skin was dark. His hair was like wool. And so maybe you should be mad at the original depiction in its inaccuracy. Hot take. Y'all let me know, is that reasonable or unreasonable? Like, don't be mad at the people. Don't be mad at the artists. Don't be mad at the dancers in the performers for the opening ceremony. Be mad at Leonardo. Be mad at Leonardo da Vinci for drawing a picture that was inaccurate to start with. Also, I was counting, right? Because, and I'm gonna show y'all, you see side by side like the pictures, right? I was counting all the images. None of them even have 12 apostles. Like, if you just take one person in a picture and say, okay, that's supposed to be Jesus, even the people, it's never the same amount. It's never the same number. So is that really what they were doing? Or did somebody see it, make a post about it, write like post this somewhere, start talking about it on the internet, and then it just blew out of control? I don't know. I don't want to come to this with a lack of sensitivity. I'm just wondering if that's what happened, because there's an issue, and we're going to get to the issue. But I'm just thinking of all in this picture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe this ain't the whole picture, but does the original picture even have 11 apostles? 12. I know somebody listening like, girl, it's 12 apostles. I don't even know what an apostle is. Let's look up what an apostle is. Let me stop sitting here being ignorant. Not apostrophe. What's an apostle? Each of the 12 chief disciples of Jesus Christ. So that's like the definition in the definition. It's like, yeah, I know but what does that mean? What does that mean? Any important early Christian teacher, especially St. Paul. Okay. So they was all teaching Christianity, but at that time, but Jesus was the only one that was supposed to be like the Son of God. He was like the chosen one. I don't really know, y'all. Anywho, whoever tweeted this, posted this, started talking about it, it blew up. And then the Olympics, NBC, anybody involved, they started scrubbing the internet. And so clearly, I'm very interested in the creative director. Who put the show together? I really want them to come out. That's the person that I haven't heard from. Have you guys heard from that person? I want to know, what were your intentions? Were your intentions to be provocative and submersive? Like, were you really trying to, were you guys trying to, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of conversation about not allowing trans people in sports, to compete in sports. And so were you guys trying to make a point? Make a point through this opening set, through this performance, and be, provocative and subversive and make your point? Is that what you were trying to do? Or did this have nothing to do with the Last Supper, period? I'm really interested in the person, the creative director, somebody that had something to come out and set the record straight, whatever the record is. The Olympics, NBC, they erring on the side of caution. They took it all down. You can still find parts of the video. You can still find people who were able to embed it, take it before it was taken down. But for the most part, oh yeah, they scrubbed the internet like an unfiltered Beyonce picture. You won't find it. You will not find it. You will not find it. But yeah, maybe it was just like, like I said, an attempt to sort of move the needle a little bit, in the conversation, specifically because this is a sporting event. This is, at the end of the day, a sporting event. And I'm just thinking like, all right, with this performance, and it's a sporting event, like, are they trying to say something about, or are they trying to get the world comfortable with, like, listen, we are out here and we also are going to want to compete. We're also athletes. I don't know. But let me tell you what. I did notice. Regardless of if the creative direction was to be provocative, subversive, make a point, push the envelope, move the dial, or if it was just like damn, we ain't even realize it. You know how you create something, and there's so many times where you draw something or you create something and somebody is like, oh, it looks like a dick. And you like, dang, it do look like a dick. I didn't even mean for it to look like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so was it just a wonky accident, But let me just tell you what. In this last scene with the blue man, the naked blue man, he appears to be naked. He ain't really naked, but he appears to be naked. If we look right to the left, somebody's testicles are definitely out. And I know that was not planned. That wasn't planned, but it's a problem. Sir, your nuts are on the table. It's most certainly the Last Supper, because now that we see your nuts, ain't nobody hungry. So, yeah, maybe people should be mad at them for doing a nutcracker, because his nuts, them cracked out them shorts. First of all, if I don't know what his role was in the performance, and I'm not making fun of this guy. That has to be embarrassing if that wasn't on purpose. But your nuts, your testicles. You got to tuck, and you gonna wear some booty shorts like that? You wearing some little coochie cutters? Coochie cutters is coochie cutters for a reason, because we ain't got no nuts. But if you got nuts, then you gotta be real secure. You gotta do something. You gotta do something before you just put them coochie cutters, especially if you're gonna be walking, splitting, flipping around, jumping to a beat. Now you standing there at the Last Supper with your nuts out. They was like, it was kids there. I'm like, it was kids there. And when you a kid, your height, you right at the height of a nut. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. Y'all, let me know what you think. Do you think that this was offensive? Do you think that this opening ceremony performance was offensive? Do you think that it was a mockery of the Last Supper or Christianity in any way? Let me know what you guys think. I'll tell you something that is unreasonable about the Olympics that I found out. the Olympics for the first time added breakdancing. And people protested. People did not want breakdancing to be recognized as something to compete. But they got walking. They got you could compete walking. You be seeing them people moving. It just seemed like I don't know what it looked like, but you see people when they be walking fast. It's like, how is that a competition and you don't want to allow people to do breakdancing? There's a whole entire thing called World of Dance. Breakdancing has been around for a very long time, but guess what breakdancers look like? Breakdancers, for the most part, breakdancers like hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So, like, don't be so overt with your don't be so overt as you try to exclude, you know? Look at them walking. What would you rather see? Would you rather see them walking? Do that look like a competition to you? Or would you rather see people breakdancing? And there have been successful reality shows built around dancing for years. They have made people's career. We ain't never seen no walking show. That ain't the hot ticket in Vegas. And I love walking. I could walk 20 miles with my eyes closed. I love walking. That's my competition. But just because that's my competition don't mean I'm a pre-pro. And let me make this very clear. I'm hating. I shouldn't do this. It's actually unreasonable for me to hate on the walkers to prove my point about the breakdancers. But I'm just saying, it's like, let's be fair. Let's be fair. Whoever protested breakdancing being added as an Olympic competition, go walk your ass somewhere. My friend said, "What's harder, Zainab? What do you think? What do you think you need more skill to walk or or to spin on your head?" I said, "Well, I'm from New York, so you got to walk fast. You just learn that skill just by default." Let's get to the other side of this. And notice I'm not talking about like any of the like wins and stuff like that. Because like I said, I haven't been watching. I've only seen clips. The clips that I've seen a lot of Simone Biles clips. And I mean, she's captivating. And when they show it in slow motion, but the other side that I want to talk about is I did not know, it was news to me that French athletes were could not wear their hijabs. They could not compete with their hijabs, or they choose to not compete. That was news to me. Let me see, what is this athlete's name? She's a basketball player. Bum, 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 bum. Give me a second, you guys. Sorry. I don't want to pronounce her name incorrect, but it starts with a Diaba. I think her name is Diaba. Forgive me, sister, if I'm saying your name incorrectly, but I saw this post on, I think, Linda Sassour's page, I believe. Sassour, Palestinian activist. And this athlete, she decided not to take part in this year's Olympics because she wears her hijab. And I had to look this up. I thought that it was like, I'm like, wait a second. Because I had to think, I was like, wait, are they banning people from wearing hijab in the Olympics? And then I had to remember, I'm like, no, if Haj wore her hijab, I'm like, there's a table tennis or ping pong player that wears the hijab, right? And I was like, no, I can think, I even remember maybe it was in 2016 when Nike did a whole thing because of Ibtihaj. Like, like that was like major marketing, was Nike coming out with the sports hijab for the female Muslim athletes during the Olympics, right? And so I was like, no, this can't be an Olympic thing. And so then I looked it up and realized that it was like a French thing. And what's crazy, what's really sad is that the Olympics were like, oh yeah, no, we definitely don't mind people wearing their hijabs. Like, yeah, no, come as you are, to a certain degree. Come as you are. And France was like, okay, well, France was like, we don't want nobody to wear it. And the Olympics were like, well, you don't really have jurisdiction over other people's citizens, other countries' citizens. And France was like, that's cool. We just gonna make sure our athletes don't do it. How do you know what? Sometimes I'll be wondering, like, do the representatives of every country, do they just go to the United Nations, sit down, have coffee, and pretend like they mess with each other? Pretend like they all on the same page? Pretend like they all like, yeah, we all like for the good of our people in the world, right? And then do they just leave and act like it never happened? Because this looks, in my opinion, this looks bad for France. Then I posted it, and I got a lot of messages. And let me backtrack, actually. At the same time when I posted this, around the same time when I posted this, my very close friend, Tabitha Brown, she was doing her Very Good Mondays where she highlights small businesses. And she had my Hijabs Off t-shirt on. And Hijabs Off is not a small business. It's not a business at all. It was just the name. It was the title of my debut comedy special, right? And I was selling t-shirts. I created t-shirts because the special was called Hijabs Off. And two things happened. One, I did not like the quality of the t-shirt. Also, I realized that out of context, especially with what is happening in Gaza, I just felt like out of context, I could wear the t-shirt, but I didn't want to put anybody in that position. But here's the thing about somebody being your very good friend. The moment I put the t-shirt on sale, Tabitha buys a t-shirt because she's my very good friend. And for her, the love that she has for me is just like support, right? And a lot of people, she got a lot of people hating on her page. And she texted me and was like, wow, Zainab, I didn't realize. She was like, the messages that I have received today, I can only imagine what you get hit with, like on a daily basis, right? And so I normally don't really engage in negativity on social media. Any sort of negativity or controversy on social media, I ain't really gonna be in the comments like that. I ain't interested. But that don't mean I don't see it, but like I won't engage, right? But I went to her page to kind of like read some of the comments, and I encouraged people to come to my page, and not like a shameless plug, but like come over here. Like over there, it's out of context and you don't have the context. But come over here and get the context and then form an opinion, right? And I had a few people slide into my DM and say, hey, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean by hijabs off? And I had explained it to them. The whole thing for me is like pro-choice. It's like, you decide. I truly believe that. I don't believe that you wearing hijab or not decides on how good of a Muslim you are, what type of Muslim woman you are. I at this point in my life don't believe that. That of course was how I was raised, and that was what was taught to me. But I've seen a lot of the world, and I've met a lot of people. And we all know that there are people who are honorable, loyal, lovely, and they wear hijab. They wear a cross around their neck. They wear a yarmulke. They wear a cloth of some kind, some religious representation. And they also operate in the way that you expect. Then there's a lot of people who wear those same things, those same physical representations of a belief system, and their behavior is their actions, their words, their thoughts, their treatment of people, their treatment of themselves. Wildly contrasting. I've seen enough. So whether you got on a hijab or not, to me, does not qualify or quantify your faith in Islam. Or fill in the blank. If you got on a cross or not, you go to church every Sunday, that does not quantify or qualify your faith in Christianity to me. So when I say hijab's off, that was a response for me. That was a response every time I said I was Muslim. Every single time. I got the haram police saying, but you don't have on a hijab. And so that's why, because I am, my ideas is pro-choice. It's you are a woman in this world with autonomy. Do what you want. Do what you want. And we don't got to, and I celebrate you. I honor you. And I'm going to say assalamu alaikum or wa alaikum assalam, regardless. So I believe that the hijab is pro-choice. That's what I believe. Which is why, I know I went on a tangent with Tabitha, and some people I just had to go in the comments and be like, astaghfirullah. Because even how you talking, it's like, you talking like that, take the hijab off. You out here judging like that. Anywho, so when I posted it, because I was kind of like, I think this is just a France thing. I think this is just a French thing. I got so many, like in my stories, this is like over 30,000 views, that post. I got so many messages from so many people, you know, like with information. So I can't read them all because, like I said, this story had like 30,000 views or something like that. And so, but I'm just going to share a few that I got. It's a French ban that they can only enforce on athletes representing France. It's ridiculousness and racist BS and not in the spirit of the Olympics at all. Sad face. As a French person, let me explain. Yes, it is specific to France. They tried to ban hijabs all around, but couldn't ban other women from other countries to wear it. So once again, France was told that it's Islamophobia. Oh, so once again, France was told that its Islamophobia was country specific. On the world stage, you know how I said, it's like, at least let's pretend. And I don't want any group of people, especially my Muslims, to be suppressed in their home country. But I mean, at least it's like, it's like, this ain't funny. I don't know why I laughed at that, but it's like the abusive person, right? The abusive parent. It's like when people show up, they not about to beat you up in front of people. They gonna come outside and be the best person. Everybody think they nice. They be baking the cookies for the bake sale. They always showing up, looking together, smiling. They everybody's favorite person. They even nicer to all the other people, but they beating your ass in the house. I mean, come on, France. Do you know how to be an abuser? Once again, France was told that its Islamophobia was country specific. Yes. And they answered with, well, I can treat mine as bad as I want. These are Parisians. These ain't Americans talking about, these ain't people around the world. So these are Parisians talking about their own place. We are all really ashamed by this ridiculous decision. France is nuts with banning the hijab on schools and the like. I have friends who visit without wearing one, their safety while traveling. Very sad. I'm so happy that so many people like sent me messages because, you know, I'm doing show. I've been to Paris once. I've been to Paris a couple of years ago, and I had an afro. I was not wearing a hijab. Neither was my sister. But you know how you look up certain things when you travel, like, oh, what can I bring to this country? What, you know, like I told you guys however many months ago, I was going to bring mace with me to Australia, because it's like I knew, like, oh, because it was Ramadan, I might be like running outside like at night or like early hours in the morning when the sun wasn't up, and I was like, I should probably have something to protect myself. And I just Googled it, like, oh, can I bring mace in Australia? It's like, no, you cannot. This is like news to me to know that in most official places that Muslim girls and Muslim women, if they wanted to, cannot wear their hijab. That is so suppressed. I mean, it's awful. And then to be proud of that, to have them all go out and have these other countries be like, yeah, no, we're totally fine with them representing their faith and competing and hopefully bringing us home a gold or silver or bronze medal. And France is like, we don't care. Talk about stuff. Ugh. France is nuts with banning okay, I read that one away. It is. The Olympic Committee literally said it's fine with them, but the French Republic wasn't feeling it. It's specific to female French athletes. This is what I was wondering. If France's stance is we don't want anybody to represent any sort of religious take in this country, like if we are really trying to solidify a separation of church and state, right? Which is crazy because, I mean, if that was supposed to represent the Last Supper, I mean, I don't know. I just think that I think they missed the mark. Everything religious, it seemed like they missed the mark. Anywho, if you can't represent something that you believe in, what about the French athlete that is Christian and has a cross tattooed on their body? And a cross you can't, and what if they can't? What if their uniform doesn't allow them to cover up? Can they no longer compete? Somebody that's watching from France, answer that question, or somebody that knows. It's specific to female French athletes. Having grown up there and being a Muslim from Algeria, I can tell you that France is probably the most Islamophobic country in the world after Israel. This is what they said. Racism there has reached insane proportions. This person said, I'm French, but not Muslim, but still highly disgusted. France has a big problem with Islam becoming more and more visible. But why? So they ban hijab in French sports, professional and minor leagues. They oblige women to remove their hijab if they want to compete, claiming that to represent France, you have to not showcase a religion, but put a lot of religious symbols in the opening ceremony. Basically, in France, you are free if you follow the majority, aka white culture. It's sad for my country. Oh, there's more. It's specific to France. The anti-hijab laws in France are just as bad as the forced hijab laws in Iran. Neither is what Islam actually calls for. This in particular is awful, though. The Olympians work so hard to get there just for their dreams to be stolen by a government that should be proud of their athletes' accomplishments. I would say, do you guys think that that's unreasonable or not? But do you guys think? Do you think that it's fine for France to ban the hijab? Okay, so I'm looking and my battery is about to run out, you guys. So I guess this is going to be the end of this episode. Oh no, without an Ask Z. All right.